Nice, well played. Harry, another win over Chelsea. How big a result is it for you?
Yeah, it was a big game coming into tonight. We knew we had to try and get the 3 points, close the gap, and no, it was a solid performance. And obviously, it's nice to get a 2-0 victory. They missed a few chances at times, but no, it was a good, solid performance. We could have been better on the ball at times, but it's a big 3 points, and that's what matters.
And Bruno, big night.
It was a good game against a good team. They are really good with the ball, but we do our game and we win.
How have you found both the club and the Premier League so far?
Oh, I feel good. Also, obviously, I play for I think the biggest club in England, and I'm really happy. It's a dream come true.
Harry, what difference has he made?
No, you can see what he's made. Is the quality on the ball that he brings, his technical ability, and no, he's a presence as well. He's come in, he demands off players. He's a leader, and he's nice to have around the dressing room. So long may it continue.
And I know for you, you've been waiting for one of those headers, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Obviously got the first goal against Tranmere, but it was with my feet. But no, I've missed a lot of chances this year, and I knew it was a matter of time before I scored one. And obviously Bruno's helped with the nice delivery, and hopefully there's many more to come from now to the end of the season.
Were there also a few heart-in-the-mouth moments tonight, particularly for you, with a potential red card for what looked, to be honest, like a kick out at 0-0?
I can see why I felt like at the time. I know I caught him, but I felt like he was going to fall on me. My natural reaction was to straighten my leg to try and, if he was to fall on me, to hold him up type of thing. Obviously, I've got studs on my boots, and it probably looks worse than it was on TV. But no, it was my natural reaction just to try and. It wasn't a kick out. It wasn't any intent or anything like that. It was just my natural reaction to straighten my leg, and if he was going to fall on me, just to hold him up really. And I knew I did catch him, and I knew at the time. But no, I think it's the right decision in the end.
So it sounds like it might have been quite a worrying moment while it was being reviewed for you.
Yeah, definitely, because I knew at the time I did catch him, but I knew at the time I didn't have no intent to hurt him or kick him. It was literally just a natural reaction to straighten my leg. It wasn't a kick. Obviously I've got studs on the end of my boots, so it probably makes it a little bit worse. But no, I apologised to him, but no, it was nice that the referee seen sense.
Does this have to be the start of something? Because it's a win that gets you right back into that fight for top four.
Yeah, well, this season we've been far too inconsistent. So you've seen we've won at Manchester City, we beat Chelsea at home, obviously pointing against Liverpool, but we've let ourselves down against the teams where the pressure's on to go and break them down. So next Sunday we've got Watford at home. We're not getting carried away because that's another massive game. We've got to treat that game as like we have done tonight, and we've got to go and get 3 points.
And well done to both of you. Bruno, fantastic English.
Not bad, but can be better.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's off. And he's the Zuma one. Oh, there's the push, sorry. For me, this is a...
You said it, the push.
Yeah.
The push, wasn't it?
He's given him a push, but Fred's nudged him from behind, though, as well. Owen made a good point during the break as well. He's kind of blocking himself from going. He gets a nudge initially from Fred.
Fred pushes first. That's a fact.
And Azpilicueta protects himself.
He does, yeah, because if you think you get pushed, then ultimately you brace yourself in front of you. So he puts two hands on the back of Williams there, and you can understand why he's overturned it. But actually, once Fred pushes Azpilicueta, I don't think you can say that he's pushed. You know what I mean? I think he's actually just bracing himself for anything that happens. And that's where VAR and players, the inconsistencies are. A lot of us don't understand it.
So at the end of all that, should the goal stand for you or not, Aaron?
I don't think Azpilicueta does anything wrong. He gets pushed and then he braces himself.
So it should be a goal?
Yeah, of course it should.
Yeah, for me as well. Paul?
No, not for me, no. No. Look, it's a faint of touches from Fred. Azpilicueta clearly puts both hands out. Brendan Williams going to clear it, he's going to head it away, and he's pushed out of the way, so it's clearly a foul. What's wrong with you?
He gets a nudge, though, didn't he, in the first place? I think we all admit that. He gets
a little touch, though, John. It's 6 and a half. Look at him going over. It's a little nudge.
But to be fair, Brandon makes the most of it. Brandon does a good job of actually making it look worse than it is. And to be fair, I don't think if Brandon does that, I think the goal stands. The fact of the matter is, Fred pushes first, right? We all agree on that.
Yeah.
No, we don't. It's
no, Paul's not saying that's a push.
Oh, he does definitely push.
It's a little flick on his one of his ribs.
But when you're moving at speed in the box around 1 or 2 yards, all you need is a little nudge, which is what he got, which then prevents him. He then puts his hands up to prevent himself from going into the player.
Well, agree to disagree, Steve.
you get any nudges
No
in
goal,
England
innit?
training? Did he go down? Or?
No, it
He
wouldn't
was
have
the world's worst.
He never did the two-hand approach. Now, Harry Maguire obviously scored the goal. You heard him talking about the incident there. Should he have been on the pitch is the big question.
Probably not, no, when you look back at it. I know he denies it strongly, said he was trying to hold him up. I don't think we're quite having that with this. It's a straight kick out, isn't it? Clearly into his midriff, shall we say.
You could probably argue initially that's a nudge there. It's a foul in the first place. Before
Batshuayi?
Yeah, by Batshuayi, it's a foul. But that's a kick out there.
Yeah, I think, again, we go back to the inconsistencies of, we saw Son earlier this season, he got a red card for something incredibly similar.
Maybe if it's off the pitch. And
Doesn't affect the referee's decision.
I know it doesn't, yeah. I'm just saying, because it wasn't on the pitch, it might just have a little thought in his head. I also think the reaction from the Chelsea bench as well could have been a little bit more aggressive, and it's more aggressive. I think that
Forces the issue, yeah. Because Rudiger made a bit of a...
So he's wanting you coaching staff to get
no,
more aggressive.
I'm thinking if Mourinho's there, if Mourinho's on that Chelsea bench, he's going ballistic there. He's got his hand up like this.
He did actually go ballistic at Rudiger after saying it was an Oscar-worthy performance, and he said in terms of...
No, but I'm saying at the time, actual time,
If
to
he'd
get a
been on
player
the
sent
Chelsea
off.
bench now, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is Batshuayi's down for a minute maybe. You've got the referee there, you've got the fourth official. Have a look at it. That's what the screen's there for. I think that's the issue for players as
They're
well.
close enough
Let
to
the
look at it, aren't they?
let the referee ref the game. So if you've got a minute break, use that minute. Because it just ticks the box. Because all of us now are going, why don't you go and look at the screen? Then he can make a decision. He's got a feel for it. The guys in the studio haven't got a feel for it there.
Well, you think all of us, I'm not sure about you, Steve, but we think it's a kick and it's probably a sending off. How can us four be wrong? There's not a difference of opinion, is there? You wonder what they're doing up there. What are they seeing?
Well, we're going to speak to Dermot Gallagher in a moment once we've cleared everything off. And a reminder, Paul, that I am strictly neutral in this chair, and you have played the game at the highest level, and you are here for your opinions, not me. 2-0, Harry Maguire with the header.
Get that straight, I'll swap chairs. Come on, give us your opinion. You'll have to give opinion, aren't you? You think it was sending off? Are we you think it's sending off?
I haven't got, 11 Premier League titles to be able to clarify it with
It
such...
doesn't matter, you don't need that.
Maguire's header.
Great, yeah. You think it was a good goal?
That's a good delivery, that's all I know.
It's a great delivery, and Fernandes did that all night, didn't he? He whipped some really good balls in, he looked dangerous. And Maguire's been thrown to do this all season. I know he did it a lot for Leicester. He's come up with England as well, scored a couple of goals. And I think John wants to explain the movement there.
Yeah, just the point now, with the VAR and the no blocking and, the pushing in the box not allowed, this is a thing now where I ask my defenders to do in the box. If you go and stand like this and use your own man as protection there, if you're Rudiger marking Maguire, you've got nowhere to go. If Maguire comes short there, you got half a yard. If you go around the back, you got half a yard as well. But you use your man as that protection in front of you. It's perfect. I'm surprised a lot of teams don't use it more. You look at there's a yard
separation
between
there,
them
isn't there? Yeah, it's good.
There's a yard, and that's all you need in a.
And that's all Bailly's trying to do, isn't he? He's not even, imagine, he's not even facing the goal. He's facing Maguire, just providing almost like a pick, they call it,
It's a screen,
basketball,
yeah.
a screen, yeah.
Screening him, yeah.
And look, and because Rudiger actually does the right thing, he steps off because Bailly's in the way, almost. And watch, and because of that, John's right, he gets a yard head start on Rudiger. And that's just enough. The ball's so good. Rudiger can't get there. And that's the Harry Maguire we saw with England. Great
header, yeah.
That's sometimes the fine margins in that situation that make all the difference.
That's all you need. You look at the goal from Martial, all you need is half a yard inside the box, and that gives you that.
And we even talk about the man on the post as well. Chelsea don't have a man on the post. If there's a man on the post, it's cleared. So that's another small detail that went missing, I suppose.
2 Manchester United headers tonight away from home.
Yeah, unusual. Great win. That was a great header. We've expected that from Harry, as we've said all season. Not quite happened, but no, great header. But Martial as well, with the first goal, another header. Before the game started, I was thinking United probably had more problems with Chelsea, but after the game, I think there's a few issues, Frank especially, has to sort out. I think the keeper's a big one. I know leaving Kepa out, he probably needs to do it because he'd not been great. But I'd only do it if you had someone who you thought was good enough to replace him. I just don't think this keeper is. He's been a number 2 for God knows how many years, and you can see why he's a number 2. I think psychologically for the other team, you're coming in thinking, Caballero, let's get shots off against him, we'll score against him. So I think there's issues there. I think there's centre-forward issues. There's an issue with centre-forward for Frank as well, and obviously with creativity. Losing Hazard's a big miss for him, of course. It's a big loss for Frank, and he hasn't quite managed to replace that, but he's only bought one player, and as John said, with 2 or 3 transfer windows, hopefully he'll try and solve that problem.
He has got things to think about, as Paul says.
Yeah, a little bit. Would the keeper understand that as well? That could be the making of Kepa as well. Could he need that little nudge to go, I need to kick on again to make it in the Premier League? We spoke about the guy, didn't we, earlier? It took him a couple of years to find his feet on the best in the world. You know, so that can always inspire lads to then push on again. But yeah, short up top when Tammy's not playing, I think that's clear and evident. That's why I look short of games tonight, I must say. But listen, Frank and Ollie both need time, both of them. Both young managers in the game, both at their clubs that they've played at. You know, it's looking good for both of them, but give them a couple of windows and see what Frank can do.
Giroud came off the bench and he thought he'd scored. But you haven't got quite as an issue with this one, have you?
No, not an issue with the offsides for me, because they're either on or they're off. The subjective ones are difficult, but listen, it's the first time Chelsea really get down the outside. It's a great ball in from Mason, great movement. And we're looking at it thinking, he can't be offside there. And you're looking by probably a foot or a big toe is offside. So it's disappointing, but there for everyone to see. As supporters and as pundits now, we look at it and go, yeah, he's offside. You can't argue that, because the line's there. When the ball's kicked, he's offside. So I've not got a problem with that one. It's the other ones that I think the players have got an issue with.
Owen?
Yeah,
You're grimacing.
Ultimately, I just think football is entertainment, isn't it? And obviously, offside can be black and white, it can. But from that side, if that was a linesman, that would have never, ever been given, I don't think, because you couldn't have seen it. Whereas John's right, it's almost like a toenail. That's, you know, and that's what it is. And I think there needs to be some sort of leeway, because I think ultimately fans want to see more goals. You know what I mean? We're getting good goals chalked off for a toenail or a centimetre. You ultimately want them to get the right decision, but that is pretty tight, isn't it? And I think ultimately going forward, you'll see maybe some of these go to the attacker more, I think.
Even the timing of Giroud there, if you just run it back there, he's kind of holding out, waiting. And his timing's really good, so it's marginal, but it's off for me.
Yeah, it does look offside for of course. The only issue I have with fans from that picture is you don't actually see when the ball's kicked. Okay, it's got him there looking offside, but is that the exact moment the ball's kicked? From that picture, a fan doesn't know. We don't know. We can't tell this time. You look at the time now where he kicked the ball, you think, he's never offside.
In real time, you'd say no way, would you?
Yeah, I'm just saying that picture at the end of it, though, where he's showing him offside, the ball's not in the picture.
Yeah.
Surely the fans should...
It's confusing for the fans, I think. Yeah, I agree with you, yeah.
Would you be happy to put that on the screens?
I don't think anybody of us would say that's
stadium.
offside there, would you? That's still there.
But if you're a supporter at the stadium there and it comes up on the screen, you go, oh, he's off. You probably stop that little bit of from the supporters, because they see it and go, he's off.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the issue you have with that, Liverpool and Man United don't have the screens.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting point, and I think the idea of VAR is great, but I think it's going to continue to evolve. I think it's going to get improved. I think still this year we've seen there's a lot of teething problems. I think this is going to get tweaked. Maybe not this one because it's a bit more, but I just think you want more goals, essentially. I think we want more goals, and what looked like in real time looked like a good goal.
As promised, we can talk to the former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher in the match centre. Dermot, good to see you. Eventful second half. Let's deal with Kurt Zuma's goal first of all. We've got one no push, two pushes. What are you?
2-2 we are then.
You're with Paul, are you?
Yeah, I think Fred gives him a little nudge, but there's lots of little nudges in the penalty area. I think you'd never get a foul for that. With Azpilicueta, I think he actually goes to ground, he's planted his feet, he gives him two hands in the back, and at that point the referee obviously didn't see it, goes to the VAR. If you watch here, there's a little nudge, but Azpilicueta clearly puts two hands in his back. And I think when the VAR sees that there, it's very, very difficult to say that didn't happen, not give a foul, and I think it's overruled correctly.
Dermot, Owen made a good point. saying about Azpilicueta. Naturally, if you're going to run into someone, you put your hands up and brace yourself.
Yes.
So you agree that there's a push initially, but it's minimal? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, John, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I disagree there. An opportunity there inside the box where it's marginal, isn't it? But there's a push clearly.
I think Brandon actually does a good job of embellishing that. There's two pushes. Fred pushes Azpilicueta. That's a fact. Whether it's minimal or not, he does push him, which impacts his run, and he pushes Brandon Williams. And Brandon Williams makes more of it than Azpilicueta does, in my opinion.
There has to be an element of cleverness about it as well from Fred. Yes, he has nudged him, but it's not obvious. Whereas Azpilicueta with his hands up, it looks like a push, and he's made it obvious. But Fred has just been a little bit clever. There's a little nudge. It's probably doesn't look much, but we know it might be something.
We're asking players. We moan about players diving. Does Azpilicueta have to dive to go and get a penalty? Does he have to go down like?
If he gets pushed, he does. Yeah, but it's a little. There's nothing to go down, is it really?
You could argue that.
Brandon Williams gets assaulted virtually, doesn't he? He has to go there.
Dermot? Well, I think if Azpilicueta had gone down, he wouldn't have got a penalty because I think they said minimal contact. But I can fully justify the second one because it's the Azpilicueta puts two hands in his back. He puts force in his back. Brandon Williams feels it goes to ground. But when you look at it on the replay, the VAR is duty-bound to give a foul there because it looks a clear and obvious error.
I disagree.
Okay.
Disagree. Goal should stand for me.
And you still haven't made your mind. Oh no, you said the goal.
I made my mind up long ago, but I think as players, you just want consistency, and at times I think there's still issues with that in terms of what is and what isn't.
Talking of consistency, Harry Maguire. In your opinion, Dermot, as a top former referee, should he have been on the pitch to score the goal?
I think he was lucky to escape any sanction at all, Steve. He didn't even get a yellow card. I think what saved him is the fact the VAR felt that it wasn't a violent act. He put his foot, I think, there because that's why he gives him a little push. They go off the ground together. I heard what he said earlier about he's got to put his foot up to block him, but it's actually the other foot he puts up. I think it wasn't a real thrust into him, it's up there. It's not the cleverest thing to do, but I think if he'd have got a yellow card, he couldn't have complained. If he had got a red card, I don't think it would have been overturned. So I think on the night, on balance, he's very, very fortunate.
Okay, now Owens...
Is there no way he's allowed to go and have a look at that and make his own opinion of it?
Paul, he's always got that option, but the VAR had said to him, in his opinion, it wasn't an act of violence. They worked together. The VAR tonight was a FIFA referee, so he's refereeing at the highest level. He'd fed that down to Anthony, and Anthony went by him and stuck by his original decision, which was just to play on.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, but I'm just thinking he's there. Does he have to go straight to VAR? The VAR come to him first?
Well, they discuss it, Paul, and the VAR advised him that, in his opinion, it wasn't an act of violent conduct. And what they say then is there's little point in the referee going because there's every likelihood he would come to the same decision as the VAR. And it's one of the things we've got, Paul, is everybody saying we want to contract the time we spend looking at VAR decisions, and that would have only prolonged it.
Dermot, just stay there, don't go anywhere, because this is a fascinating discussion. But before we come back to it, we are going to get the thoughts of the Chelsea boss. These might be interesting. Frank Lampard.
Frank, the night's come any more frustrating than that?
Well, tough to take on lots of different levels. Some footballing, some others, and it's frustrating. But it's football and it's life. Said that to the players. I'm certainly not complaining about any work ethic or input from the lads. Their heads are down in there, which is something they need to correct, and I'll make sure of that. But it was a tough night, yeah, tough for us.
Do you feel like you deserved more, or you needed to do more?
Both. It's not a 2-0 game, but the reality of football is it's a 2-0 game because of moments. I think for their first goal, we have a free kick, we've got 10 men, we play it long, we're offside, it's ridiculous. And that's a silly moment. And then for the second goal, it's a clear free header in our box. Other than that, you expect some counter-attacks. Manu had a couple. Nothing that was absolutely clear-cut until the end when the game was done. And we have a feeling of Groundhog Day, whatever you want to call it, in the stadium, because I don't know how many shots we have at goal, but a lot. We have chances, we miss them. And if we don't have the input of goals in attacking areas, you can't win football games, especially against a team like Manchester United who want to come, want to defend, and then want to break on you. So there are footballing things today that are clear, and they get clearer every week.
Do you feel then like you've seen that more or less that same game 100 times? And is there really, until you do something in the summer, any prospect of putting it right between now and the end of the season?
There's always work. There's work to do every day, and then we'll have work now to go and get ready for Tottenham, because at the minute we're fourth, and the season starts here. We're fourth by a point, and the season starts here. People didn't expect us to be fourth, but we are. But yeah, you know, a lot of our play, there's some really good stuff. There are things I can criticise. I'm not soft. I know that I've mentioned the 2 goals already, and there are moments and there are things we can be better with the ball at times as well. But if you're not going to have productivity to finish, if you feel like we're not going to score in games, it's very difficult to win games. It's very difficult, and that's an area for the 18-yard box. We can bemoan our luck sometimes, yes, but football, things come round in the end, and if we're not finishing chances, difficult to win games. I'll say it again, and it's not nice. It's not good. The fans come here, they want us to win against a team. We compete so well pretty much in every game we play this season. There are a few, and count them on one hand, where I can say lack of effort, or we were off it today, they were better than us today. It's not the case. We score, we have about 20 shots a game, nearly we produce, and then we don't score, which obviously is again, it's difficult.
Very tough as well for a manager to come out and pick on individual players, but if we're honest, was it a tough night for Batshuayi?
It was tough, because strikers will be judged on goals, and if they're getting opportunities to score goals, and it's a fact. It's there to see today, and it's not just Michi. We need goals from forward areas, and we haven't had enough this season. We had a period where Tammy was scoring goals, and we're all delighted, and fair play for Tammy, because he's come through the system. He's been on loan, 2 really good loans in the Championship, and scored goals. We're all delighted about that, but we can't rely on that, and that's not quite been there recently. And you go, okay, where are the other goals? That, you know, you get judged in things in football. You get judged as an attacking player. You can't just say, yeah, that looks good or that looks good. You have to say, no, do I score? Do I create? What am I judged? What have I changed the game in what way? And if we're not doing that enough, there's judgment.
Perhaps to your credit, you've not mentioned VAR yet, which I'm surprised about. 2, 3, did they all go against you this evening?
Yeah, well, yeah, and the reason I don't, because I'll probably be annoyed if I sit people and say about VAR when it's not affecting the game, and I think whether it would or not, Harry Maguire should have got sent off. I think that's quite clear from how I saw it. I mean, we all have opinions, I suppose. That obviously changes the game from now. With the Azpilicueta one, I think he gets shoved to then shove the player in front of him. My feeling on the rule, it was clear and obvious. If he gets shoved first, and that's not clear and obvious, so the goal should stand. And Ollie's a toenail offside, but that one I understand, because now the rules you stand, if it's exact, it's frustrating because it comes in the 80th minute or something of a game that we're striving to get back into. But the first 2 definitely went against us.
Is it also sometimes the way it's handled, because that Maguire thing happens right in front of your bench, right by the VAR monitor, the referee stood there, and yet it's not looked at?
Yeah, should be, because Harry Maguire's a smart boy, England centre back, held his hands up, didn't do anything. That's the time to look at it properly, and then you make your decision, and it was the wrong decision. So I don't get the monitor one. I think it's been looked at once this season. I mean, for things like that, it has to be looked at. Disappointing.
You said, I think in your first answer, the season starts now, that this weekend's game against your old manager looks huge now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it was huge anyway, because even though I say it starts now, it will be topsy-turvy as this season is, and to this point we should be pretty happy with fourth. I think we're fourth because of some of the good stuff we've done, and because of the nature of the league and everyone taking points off each other, so we should be happy with that. But there's a lot of work to do, because you can see the problems there today, and we work day in, day out. Some of our stuff is really good. As I say, we know the threats today are the wing-backs and the counter-attack, and we dealt with 99% of it. But again, that putting the ball in the back of the net, I feel like a broken record. I'm sorry if people keep hearing me say the same. Chelsea fans keep hearing me say the same. But we have to put things to bed by scoring goals, and the message is clear. We have to work, and the fight